Diving down the rabbit hole, deep dive, true crime with Jackie Siege, Jermaine.
Hello. How is everybody doing? All right. So my computer's been sitting here just dead for as long as I've been also dead from you. So let me know. Is audio good? Is the video good? Are you good? Is Wendy good? Hopefully not. I can hear myself and I don't like it. Can you hear me now? Okay, I can't hear me now. I like this better. Can you hear me still, or did I just mute my mic? You let me know. I'll wait. Is it good now that I fixed it on my end, but probably ruined it on your end? All right. A little laggy. I like that your screen name is just like your cat walking across the keyboard. Ah, FKHYFXDG. Like, okay. All right. Hello, everybody. This is exciting. I'm excited for today. All right. So sorry that I ghosted you and just left for too long. But we have some stuff to discuss today. Okay. So let's do a little run over what we're going to go over today. We are going to go over, first of all, the main thing that I have put on this, freaking caption, the description, the title, whatever it's called. I made a mistake. I have watched that stupid Wendi interrogation, interview, whatever you want to call it. I can't even tell you how many times. And I can't believe that I missed this. Not that I missed it. I just completely misheard it. So I want to show you that because I thought it was bad the first way I heard it. This is so much worse. Secondly, I'd like to go over more from her interrogation because there's a few things that are really not sitting right with me. And hopefully it also doesn't sit right with Georgia and the rest of the prosecution team. So we'll watch that. And then we are going to go over the very fun news of Georgia and her little panel discussion that she did with, I remembered his name the other day, but now, Jason Newland. Is that who it is? Yeah, I think so. They do this panel discussion, and we need to talk about that too. So I have a couple clips about that. I can't be here too long. Of course, it's the summertime. I live on a dairy farm. I have a fly in here as my co-host, but I did make sure to buy like 10,000 little tiny blue contacts to put on its eyes so it feels more included in the conversation. It just flew past, so ignore that. Okie dokie dokie. All right. So I'm glad everybody's here. So you know how I don't play. Let's just get into the first thing that I want to talk about, which is my mishearing of something absolutely awful that Wendi said that I am just like still. Yeah, we need to put an end to Wendi. I will put the end in Wendi, and I have no problem doing that. So, most of my best discoveries are by pure accident. It's mostly when I'm looking for something else or I have something else completely planned, and then I just happen to hear or happen to see something that I'm just like, oh my God, why is this like this? Who are you? Why would you say this? And you're awful. Okay. So let's just begin. Blue River, Glenn Thomas. I have had to block that man on literally every single, like, he messages me on Facebook, on Reddit, on like stuff that I probably don't even like have accounts to. He's probably trying to get a hold of me on. I told him that I'll wait for his apology once Wendi is arrested. And I will expect that. Okay. All right. So let's go. So I was doing this for a different purpose. It was one of the lives that we had. I don't even remember who it was with. I think it might have been a True Crime Wifey when we were talking about this, because we wanted to I wanted to boost Donna's call to see what I could hear on her end, the whole call that Wendi made to her, to just kind of like see if we could hear anything more, whatever, it doesn't matter. Yeah, trial watch. I slammed him too. I absolutely went up and down on him. I'll read you guys the whole thing on that I sent to him on Reddit one day, because he had just absolutely no words. He couldn't even answer any of my questions. So I'm listening to this, and when I record my clips and I just like screen record them, I usually record like a little ahead of what I want to listen to, and I'm listening back to this and I can't even believe it. Okay, so let's just play it. Let's just play it. All right.
Okay, I'm gonna call my parents. Do you want to be here when I call them? Would you like me to
Okay,
be?
first of all, I'm going to call my parents. Would you like to be here when I call them? This is Wendi's invitation for the victim advocate to leave. Wendi does not want the victim advocate to be in the room when she calls her parents. What a weird thing to say anyway. Imagine that you didn't kill your ex-husband and you just have to call your parents to let them know. Why wouldn't the victim advocate be right there? Isn't she there to like help you when you're sad, Wendi? Come on. Yeah. Motherfuckers act like I forgot about Wendi. I didn't. She just makes my blood pressure go through the roof. So I had to take a little break. I'm working on so many things. Okay. I know. I'm off topic. I'm ADD. This is what you're here for. Please. I'm working on so many different things right now. I have like 45 videos in the work. Not really, but a lot of different nonsense. And I need to get back into it. But I've been living my best, hot girl summer life. So what are you going to do? Okay. So first of all, why would you ask if the victim advocate was going to stay in the room? Suspicious. But that's not what I want to talk about.
Oh no.
Okay. So I was going to make this into a video. This is one of the ones that began and it never got completed. So you want to be here when I call them? An odd thing to ask. I think Wendi was especially nervous about how Donna would react to this call, obviously. Clearly, this is here for me to do the voiceover for what I just said.
Here with you, and that way you can say it on your mic. Okay, I'm gonna call my parents. Okay. I have no idea what to say because I don't even know that he's dead.
Okay, now a caption is going to come up for this because, again, I was meaning to put this in a video. Write in the chat if you heard what she said. Because this entire time, and I did all my own captions in my Wendi series, and I captioned this. I don't know what to tell them because I don't even know if he's dead. Okay, that's what I thought she said. That I don't even know if he's dead, which I already thought was a heinous thing to say. That's what I thought she said too. She doesn't. And I'm going to play this over and over. She says, I don't even know that he's dead. Not if he's dead, which is fucking bad enough. I don't even know that he's dead is what she says. I don't even know that he's dead. And I'm going to play it. It plays a couple times over in this so you can hear it. But I'm sorry. To me, my opinion, Wendi and Mr. Lauro, is you saying, I don't know that he's dead, to me seems like he should be dead is what you are wanting, is what the plan is what your parents are expecting to hear, is that he is dead. I don't know what to tell my parents because I don't know that he's dead. Somebody that you wouldn't expect to be dead, you would never say this about. This is fucking horrible. What is wrong with you? What is wrong with you? Okay, so I'm going to let this play through because this replays, you know how I do. I replay it several many times. So let's listen to this. What in the actual... I've listened to this interview 100 times more than likely. I've included this specific part in my Wendi series, but it wasn't until just now that I realized that I heard this wrong. I've always thought she said, I don't even know if he is dead. But that's not what she says. She says, not if, but that. I don't know what to say because I don't even know that he's dead. Which saying, I don't even know if he's dead is bad enough, but saying, I don't even know that he's dead is like a quadrillion times worse. Because what it sounds like is she's saying, I don't know what to tell my parents because the plan has not been fully executed. Like, let's listen again.
I have no idea what to say because I don't even know that he's dead. I just know that he's been shot.
But all signs of what everyone's telling you, I mean, when they start talking, sorry to be blunt, organ donation.
I know that's not really.
He's kind of.
Okay, so I just want to tell them what happened and that I need them here.
Mm-hmm. And they're gonna come up here
probably. Kids are fine.
Mm-hmm. And let them know, when they ask, say the kids are with Lynn and Alan. I'm gonna probably be seeing them relatively soon.
I will, right? I'll be out of here soon. Yeah, okay.
I know it's probably
so creepy to see Jeff's picture. Like it looked like a weird mugshot. Like it's can you dear God. Okay. No, I just I think it's a shock reaction.
Okay, let's listen one more time.
Right? I have no idea what to say because I don't even know that he's dead. I just know that he's been shot.
But all signs of what everyone's telling you, I mean, when they start talking, sorry to be blunt,
I have no words. I'm sorry. And I know that this is probably not going to be a super punchy. Yes, I know. I agree. I agree, Julia, 100%. I think that and if both implies that she needs to know that he is dead. But I don't know if he's dead. To me, sounds like, yes, obviously, we obviously know what I think. I think Wendi knew clearly well before this ever happened. But her saying, I don't know if he's dead is, yes, she wants him to be dead and she's excited about that. I feel like her saying, I don't know that he's dead says the plan is he's supposed to be dead. And I don't know that he is. I don't know if my husband's home yet. I don't know that my husband is home yet. I don't know that my husband made it there. That makes no sense. Okay. Forget it. I won't do analogies today. This is crazy, though. I mean, she obviously, I go over that in my whole Wendi series, how many times she asks, like, is he dead? Is he dead? Like, has he died yet? How is he? You know, I need an update, blah, 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 blah. I think that's awful. Personally, I think that's awful. Okay. Awful. What do you think? I think it's awful. I think it's awful. I think it's awful both ways, obviously. But I think that specifically, I think that was a complete switch or a complete like Freudian slip on her part. And, you know, I mean, I just think, you know, as normal people, we think of how we would react to this situation. And I cannot imagine ever saying that. Like, ever saying that. IB, good, great point. Tell Charlie also means tell him not to pay because he's not dead, and they didn't. They waited. They waited to pay the hitman until he was definitively dead, which is another thing she says. Awful, awful, awful. Okay. Yep. Yeah, exactly, Top Cat. She's now having to improv. Because the script was set, and now she's having to go off script because she doesn't even know that he's dead. Terrible. No. Oh, she's the worst. Okay. So next, let's just what are you rolling? What are you even rolling over? What are you catching on? Okay. Sorry. Okay. So I want to go over this. Now this is Paul. They did not pay him. They did not pay the hitman until after until the following day, until after Dan passed. Dan passed a little after midnight on the 19th, and the hitmen were not paid until 19th sometime in the morning. So, yep. It is awful. Okay. Oh no, I still have the confetti bombs. I have them right here. I've got 4 of them. I've got my kids. My 10-year-old asks me almost every day. He's like, "Is Wendi arrested yet?" Sorry, not yet. Okay. So here we go. Now, I don't necessarily think that, you know, and with a lot of these, you know, a lot of the trials that have been associated with this, it's not really like one piece of information. It's accumulation of all these different things. So this is another one. And this one I feel is pretty huge. So you know how like when a crime is committed, the cops will come out, you'll get most of the information, but they always hold back a few key details just in case somebody gives them a detail that hasn't been leaked yet in the crime that only the killer or somebody very close to the crime would know. Wendi does that. Wendi does that a few times in her interview. The literal hour after she learns about Dan's death, she has quite a bit to say on the matter. So let's listen. All right. So she knew key details the very day of the murder without ever being told. So to set this up, and we've all taken parts of this. We've all watched this stupid thing. I've tried to cut out as much of her crying as I can, okay, because I don't want to listen to it. So this is the officially what Wendi was told by Isom in the very beginning. So listen very carefully to what she is told.
there was a shooting at your home, or your ex-husband's home, at 2116 Trescott. Okay. Your ex-husband, excuse me, Daniel, all right, has been taken to the hospital. He's not going to survive.
Oh my God.
Okay.
Okay. There was a shooting at Trescott. Dan's been taken to the hospital. He's not going to survive. Very basic information. There was a shooting. At this point, I mean, it could have been the neighbor cleaning his gun and the gun went off. You know what I mean? Like, nobody at this point, this is very base information. There was a shooting. Dan is in the hospital. He's not going to make it. Okay. Here we go. Oh my God. Which, I'm sorry, but anybody telling you information that you're not expecting, your brain has to take a second to process that. You don't just go, oh my God. You don't. Somebody tells you something, and the first reaction for most people is just like, what? Because hearing something as terrible as this is like such an out-of-body experience. And you would need a second to let that sink in before you go into all sorts of hysterics, whatever. We know that. But this is what she's told. He was shot. He's in the hospital. He's not going to make it.
I'm trying to keep you informed.
So now here is she does say what happened. Midway through her tear fest, she's going, what happened? Midway through the tear fest, she does ask what happened. But I mean, she launches immediately into hysterics, like no sort of like processing, no sort of what happened? Like, there was none of that, okay? Doesn't ask about the kids, nothing, doesn't need to ask because she knows. Okay, so here is the first medical update that she is given by Isom. Yes, Paul. She says several times, he wouldn't have done this himself. And he says, like, straight up, like, you know, at one point he's like, you know, we think, you know, this was like a specific, you know, like it was targeted. He says at one point, because she keeps saying like, oh, he didn't kill. And he's like, no, we don't think he did. Like, he was shot by somebody, like, whatever. Okay. Yeah, exactly, Victoria. The kids were supposed to go swimming. They could have been in the car. It's crazy. It's crazy. Yeah, no, don't ask about the kids. Olda, no, nobody cares. Like, Wendi doesn't care. She could care less. Okay, so here is the medical update that Isom gives her, and listen to what Wendi says.
As much as possible.
Thank you.
I'm trying to be in a bunch of places at once.
My grandmother once said you can't have your tuchus in two places at once.
That's true. That's true.
I'm losing my mind over here.
Okay, this is the thing. All right, I'm my understanding. Okay, I'm going to give you the. Let me do it backwards because this will be easier, or not backwards, but the other way.
Is he still alive?
Clinically, he's not going to live.
First, not how is he? How is he doing? Is he okay? Is he still alive? She just wants to know, has he died yet? Like, that's all she cares about. Because, you know, what does it mean for Wendi if he doesn't die? Did he see who shot him? Is he going to be able to talk? You know, he's a witness at that point. If he doesn't die, he's a witness, you know, and this is why Wendi was freaking out too about, like, how did he get to the hospital? Like, who called? Like, who would have even known? Like, did he call? Blah, blah, blah. Like, who would have even asked that? But yeah, is he still alive? Is he still alive? Which is a terrible thing to say, but this is not what we're even going to listen to right now. Okay, so go. So go, Timmy.
He has
he
a
brain
severe,
dead?
yes, he has a severe brain injury.
Someone shot him in the head.
It's
Let's just back this up just for a small smidge of a second.
clinically, he's not going to live.
What does that mean?
I'm going to give you the. Let me do it backwards because this will be easier, or not backwards, but the other way.
Is he still alive?
Clinically, he's not going to live.
What does that mean?
He has
he
a
brain
severe,
dead?
yes, he has a severe brain injury.
Someone shot him in the head.
Is he brain dead? So clinically, he's not going to live. What does that mean? Is he brain dead? Wendi asks, because this is important for her, because she needs him to be brain dead. She can't have him out there talking and thinking and coming up with shit. Maybe this was the freaking Adelsons that did this shit to me. He says, yes, he has a brain injury, and her immediate utterance is, someone shot him in the head. Okay. So this could have happened a number of ways. He could have got shot and fell and hit his head on something. He could have been driving and a stray bullet hit him, coming into his house, and he crashed his car. Like, there could have been any number of things that could have happened that doesn't immediately point to Wendi knowing 100% that he got shot in the head. Exactly, Denise. He could have got shot and beat. Like, I mean, I know I'm trying not to be too graphic, but you know what I mean? Like, Wendi knows immediately. He was shot in the head. Somebody shot him in the head, Wendi says. So Wendi has information, 100% accurate information, that she has not been told, and she is telling Isom, hey, I already know about that, by the way. I know how he got shot and where on his body he got shot. Isn't that cool? Fun, right?
It's apparently there's too much damage to recover from it.
I know that it's not like.
Okay. I hate this bitch. I'm so sorry. I am so sorry. I cannot. Just like starting to put the shit back together had me in like such a freaking state. Okay, so here we go again. She now admits, she's about to admit to the freaking victim advocate that, oh yeah, no, I said he got shot in the head and Isom didn't answer me. So she's admitting that nobody gave her this information, but somehow she knows.
Well, I don't know what's happening right now, but like as of a little bit ago, it wasn't definitive. Do they want to wait until it's definitive, or do they want
First of all, this is a little cut off clip, but they're talking about calling Dan's parents. And if you've seen this, which most of you if you're here, you've seen it. But just for the maybe one or two people, they're talking about calling Dan's parents. Now, this is the same girl that just said that she wanted to take her kids to go see him, okay? Well, they're like, yeah, we need to let his parents know, blah, blah, blah. She says, don't they want to wait until it's definitive? What, do we want to not let his parents know that anything happened to him until he's completely gone? What a fucking monstrous thing to say. Who in the absolute fuck would ever say that? Who would ever think that? Who would ever say that out loud? Do they want to wait until he's like 100% dead? What an absolute freaking nightmare human being. But
Well,
that's
what
They
sounds
want
pretty
to get in contact
bad.
with them because I think some decisions need to be made, and because they're his parents, they would be his next
Next
of
of
kin.
kin.
Yeah.
So he's still alive, but he's maybe on life support or some such thing.
I don't know
You
the
don't
medical
know.
terms around it, but it's from what Investor Ison was telling her, it does not look
He was shot in the head?
from what was Investor Ison?
I said that and he didn't answer it.
So it's just he was very badly
He shot.
shot multiple times, maybe badly.
When I think he did say that there was trauma to his face. And
As
that's
I
when
was
you were
saying, I
asking
wanted
about
the
showing the
kids.
boy.
I wanted the kids
Yes, you
to be
can't.
with him, but not if he
yeah.
looks scary.
And
So,
So here she is. Oh yeah, no, I said that. I said he was shot in the head, and Isom didn't answer me. Didn't answer me. See you later, Blue River. Again, nobody gave her this information. So how do you know, Wendy? How do you know?
based on what you've told me, I'm going to take that information, compile it with other information that other
But I just wanted to
investigators have worked
include
on.
this clip because this shows like how, how held back they're being sharing this information and sharing details about the crime scene, because Jane is about to ask, was there a robbery? And he's like, I can't tell you any of that. Like,
And we'll see where it leads.
Okay.
Now, I'm not saying anybody that you told me about is any way involved.
Is there
I
any
don't
sign
know.
of stuff being stolen from the house?
I can't discuss that.
Okay.
So,
But you are discussing that you don't think he's going to live. I mean, like,
I'm telling you a fact that I know he's not going to live.
and I'm sorry, that was a fucking sigh of relief on Wendy. I
Okay. So,
is he dead now?
well, I already discussed that with her. He has enough injury that's traumatic enough that he's not going to be able to recover from it.
So she knows where he was shot. And she also seems to know that he was not only shot in his head, but in his car. Because listen to this shit.
Oh my god, you can see the car.
Wendy at the police station, hours after being told Dan was shot, makes a startling revelation. While
And
looking
guys,
at this
look
picture,
Look at this picture. This is the picture. Okay, so to set this up, she's asking Jane how Jane had any knowledge of this. Is it in the news? Blah, 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 blah. And Jane looks it up. She Googles it and she pulls up this Tallahassee Democrat article and has this picture. This picture is in it. And it's a black car inside of a blacked out garage. And this is what jumps out to Wendy about this picture. Now, it is a full picture, end to end, of their house, okay? It has a crime scene tape across the driveway, and here is the car. And Wendy says, oh my God, you can see the car. Which, that would be like being like, oh my God, you can see the bush. Oh my God, you can see the driveway. Oh my God, you can see the house numbers. Which you can see the house numbers on it. She's like, I don't think it looks like my house. But she's shocked, like immediately shocked that you can see the car. And says, like, she can't help herself. Says right there, oh my God, you can see the car that is barely visible. And there's nothing weird about a car being parked in the garage unless that car was the murder scene, which it was, which Wendy hasn't been told, but she knows somehow, allegedly, in my opinion. Come for me.
she makes a horrified utterance. Oh my God, you can see the car. The car, which is barely visible in this picture. genuinely shocks Wendi to see. Which, after being told no details of the crime scene, her being horrified at the sight of the car can only mean one thing. She was there. Especially since she tries to downplay the picture of the house, stating that you couldn't really tell that it was her house.
Is it a picture of the house? Oh my
Yeah.
god, you can see the car. You
Right.
can't tell it's our house.
Well, yeah, right.
You
You
can?
can't tell it's not your house. It certainly appears to
Could
be
be
a
any
house
house.
like your house.
A notion which Jane immediately refutes because,
I mean,
obviously,
oh, you can't really tell that it's the house. So here's the Google Maps street view of the house, Wendy's house. And here's the damn picture of the house with the crime scene tape. And Wendy's like, oh my God, you can see the car. Oh, well, you can't really tell it's our house. Jane's like, I mean, oh yeah, right. It certainly appears to be a house like your house. I mean, identical to your house on Trescott, where everybody knows that you live. Like, bruh. All right. So one of the main reasons why key details are withheld is for this reason exactly. There's certain things that only the killer would know. So that begs the question, how did Wendi know exactly what happened before it was ever released?
Duties as a forensic specialist is the documentation, collection, and preservation of evidence at a crime scene.
How long did you do that type of work?
Done that work for probably 15 years.
Okay. And were you doing it back on July 18th of 2014?
Yes.
As part of your job, did you respond to 2116 Trescott Drive on that date?
Yes, I did.
Right. And what was your job once you arrived at that particular scene?
That particular day, I was called to document and collect evidence at a crime scene.
Is this the scene that you're referencing?
Yes, it is.
All right, I'm gonna.
Oh my god, you can see the car.
And then back to 16, if you would. What efforts were made to document this? What is it that we're looking at?
We're looking at the front driver's door window that was shattered with a hole in it.
Okay. And the glass evidence, is that consistent with a gunshot?
Yes, it is.
As part of the examination, particularly in gunshot wounds, we like to know whether the bullets are still in the body or how badly they are broken up, etc. So we do X-rays, and this is an X-ray of the head.
So much better than head.
You can see the top of the head here, the jaw, right side, left side, and these really bright spots here and here are the bullets that we recovered from this individual. They come out because they're very dense. The X-rays bounce off and turn them white here, just like bone. It's fairly dense. These are the bullets here, and here.
He was shot in the head?
From what was he necessary? So
I said that and he didn't answer it.
Published states 26, please. How many bullets were in Mr. Markel's head?
There were 2 bullets in his head.
But yeah, Wendi seems to have, and I'm not saying like this is going to be the smoking gun or anything, but I feel like the jury is going to be interested in knowing how this woman acted in the hours after learning about what happened to her ex. And I think that, well, a lot of what she says is awful and completely just like completely out of character for how a normal person would behave. But I think that her knowing, saying out loud, he got shot in the head without being told, and oh my God, you can see the car, and is clearly like, why were you so concerned about the car? Like, why did the car stand out to you? And I don't think Wendi will testify in her trial at all. So she's not going to be able to answer a lot of these questions. So a lot of these are just going to be able to be posed to the jury like, that's interesting, right? That's suspicious. That's weird. because it is. Because I think all those things are absolutely awful. And I mean, genuinely, the amount of times that she asked how many times like, is he dead yet? Is he dead yet? When is he going to die? Like, oh my God, when is he? I mean, this is literally how she was acting in this. And then the freaking, sorry, I read a comment and completely lost my train of thought. Oh, and then she was like losing her ever loving mind about how people were finding out what happened to Dan. She had no idea how it was circulating so quickly, and she's asking the victim advocate. She's like, "Well, Tracy knows. How did Tracy know?" It's like the victim advocate probably doesn't even know who the fuck Tracy is. Like, why are you asking her how Tracy knows? Like, word gets around. Like, you had a realtor call you, and the realtor heard about this before you did. A realtor heard about this. She asked you, like, it's gonna get around, especially like on a super nice residential quiet street like Trescott. Like, come the F on. Come on. And yes, Vince Black, 100%. She did not expect the neighbor to call 911. These people genuinely feel like, one, I think they were banking on the fact that it was a good neighborhood. And if somebody heard a bang, they would think, oh, it's a car backfiring, or, something. Oh, maybe, John is doing landscaping and he, took down a palm tree, whatever. They were not expecting this to all go down. And the fact that not only did the neighbor hear it, but then see the car drive away is just like, God had his hand in that day, 100%. Okay. So as it says, I have a memory of the surveillance cameras not working at her house on the day of the shooting. I don't know if she specifically had surveillance cameras at her house. That's not something that I remember, but honestly, there's so much information out there. Victoria says the Geek Squad came to my house and hooked up my printer in 3.5 minutes and gone. Why was he there an hour? Especially after, I mean, and you guys, if you've watched my, my Wendi series, and I have a short on it too, I called Best Buy and said, hey, I have a TV that's messed up. And they told me flat out over the phone, like, yeah, we can send somebody out. You're going to get charged for it, and we're not going to be able to fix it. It's a TV, buy a new one. And that's likely what the guy told her the 2 seconds he was there. You know what they'll fix? Software issues. This is not hooking up to Wi-Fi, like that stuff. They're not going to replace a screen. I mean, do you know what they charge to replace screens on iPhones at Geek Squad? Like $350? What would it be on a gigantic, like, TV? I can't. Paul, that would be amazing. Arrest Wendi tomorrow on the anniversary. Oh my God, wouldn't. I can't. Yep, Gina, she knew things she should not have known, and that is suspicious. It's not 100% like, bang, boom, this is what but it adds to it. It adds to it, and I think the jury would be wondering why she would say those things and how she knew those things and what. Thank you, Fort Worth. Glad to see you too. Yeah, she said that she missed the call. She missed the call, but then she was on the phone like the whole day. And she missed the call, but then she immediately listened to the voicemail and then talked to Charlie about it. So, hi, Rebecca. Okay. Yeah, I feel like she was in the know. I think, honestly, one of the worst pieces of evidence that we know about currently is her sitting in her mother's condo and asking Dan if he would be in town the week of his murder, and also if she could have the kids for that Wednesday that is already scheduled in the parenting plan that they have had for 2 years because they were divorced for that long. So she has a parenting plan saying that she gets them every Wednesday when it's Dan's week, and she's asking if she can have them that Wednesday, and that's why she wants to know if he's going to be in town, because she wants to know if she can have the kiddos that Wednesday. That and the frickin' canceling the sale of the house, which I didn't realize until Donna's trial, that not only was she looking to buy a house, that she had signed the contract. She broke the contract the day Halloween of 2013, the day that Charlie says to Katie, "Hey, do you know somebody who could kill my my ex brother-in-law? By the way, by the way." I feel like a jury would convict her. I every jury every jury that has been on every single trial has been like, "Why isn't this bitch getting charged? Is she going to also?" And I mean, Donna's jury was very, very communicative afterwards. There was a whole bunch of interviews done, and every single person, with just the evidence that they heard through Donna's trial, all think that Wendy's guilty. And that doesn't even include what we don't have yet. Okay. Yeah. No, I don't. We're going to go over, we're about to get into this panel discussion. Okay. Because I want to talk about that, and then we'll do a little chit chat, and then we'll wrap it up. Okay. So exactly, Rebecca. She's like, "I didn't have the money because Dan didn't pay me." Well, the accountant blew that right out of the water. She's like, "Oh yeah, she had all the money for the down payment." Like, doesn't even make sense. Doesn't even make sense. Oh no. Hi. I am not the one that gets threatened. I will not shut up for anybody. Just take my word for it. No, I know my rights. Mr. Lauro. Oh, and thank you. Thank you for the super chat. That's so sweet. And I don't know why it's not showing up on this. Okay, it is kind of. Thank you so much. Yeah. No, I will not be silenced. I just had to take a little break. So yeah, and she says at some point, and I can't remember if it's in. I'm pretty sure it's in one of the trials, because Georgia asks, like, who paid the repair guy? And she's like, "I did." Yeah. She had to tell Charlie that Dan wanted to take the kids swimming. Hi, Ira. Which, I'm sorry. Like, you have to be a cunt up until the very last minute. Like, you can't just let the man think that he's taking his kids. Like, what the fuck kind of depraved piece of fucking human garbage are you? I mean, we know, because, hi, we've met you. But, oh my God. Oh my God. Yeah, Jane was, because I think she was like on the phone with somebody, or she messaged somebody that she was going to the police station. So I think she was like updating whoever that was. Was that sweet Charlie called the school and asked them to call Dan. They had already enrolled Ben in school with Dan in the pick. They would have required custody papers, remember, because there was a deadline. Oh, when when yeah, when she signed them up for the school in Tallahassee, and just rewrite rewrite that, Mrs. Jim Morrison, if I'm missing this. Okay, thank you, Victoria. She said he was in like a lottery type thing and chosen. Okay, all right, and agreed. She can't help herself. She genuinely can't help herself. And I mean, it was very, very nice to be able to listen to Jeff and hear, you know, basically his description of like how Wendi acts when she's nervous. And like, I'm kind of like this sometimes. Like, you ever start talking and you don't mean to, but you can't stop, and like you just keep kind of like digging yourself in more, and you're just like, shut up, but you can't. I don't know, maybe that's just me. And I don't feel like I have terrible impulse control either. So, and Wendi had just gone off her meds too. So she's like all sorts of not balanced already. But there we go. Aw, thanks so much. I love Grish. The last time, well, Grish and Leslie and I did a live, I was going to say the other day, but everything is the other day to me, whenever we did it. And then Grish ended up staying on for like 9 hours. That was awesome. I love Grish. I honestly, there's not very few of this community, very few people in this community that I don't absolutely adore, because I'm sorry, everybody adds to, the conversation, and everybody hears like, all right, thanks for coming, Dawn. We'll see you later. Yeah, and I mean, everybody's gonna kind of hear something different or see something different, or like have a little bit of different information. So yeah, the TV, Elcadian says the TV was under a service contract, because Donna says the purchase when it was in her name, this contract was in Harvey's name. No payment was made at the time of the service call. Yes, so Geek Squad, they did have the Geek Squad thing, but this isn't covered under Geek Squad. None of this crap is covered under Geek. You can't break the TV. That's why they say, like, even if you have the Geek Squad coverage, like, this is not something that we fix. Like, we would normally just have you replace it. So if we're going to send a tech out, you're going to have to pay for that tech's time, is basically, what they said. Yeah, she paid the fee. Yes, thank you so much, Rain Collector. She says, Wendy's freaking out so hard. Imagine the cortisol. You can see it in her face already. I can't. And I mean, I feel like between, obviously Charlie's appeal got denied, which we all figured it would. And then we'll touch a little bit about this Katie rumor too, because I'm sorry, I am a full-on believer that most of the time rumors do not just blossom out of nowhere. So we'll touch on that real quick. All right, so we have been gifted, and correct me if I'm wrong. I believe, I don't know. When was this actually? I just watched this the other day. I don't know when it actually came out, but I'm talking about the panel discussion on Dan Markel. Georgia is wearing her Green Means Go blazer. Jason Newland is there, and then I'm sorry, I didn't catch the other guy's name, but he was also like a lawyer, right? So we have them talking. They do an hour-long panel discussion. They open it up for some people, and they talk about, they're talking about the trial, obviously. Well, she's mentioning Wendi quite a bit in the beginning of this, and she's they're talking about how do you figure out what to include in the basically in the trial so people can get a good idea of it. And she's like, we were really struggling with that. We're like, this is Charlie's trial. Are we saying too much about Wendi? Or are we saying too much about Donna? Or, are we saying too much about Wendi? And all this stuff. And so she's, saying how they're, kind of laying out the evidence and everything. She says, that she's like, I feel like every time I go into, the court, I always feel like I'm going to lose. She says, but the time that, everything's closed, she says, I always feel really good about it and feel like I did a new, a good job and everything. But she's, they get asked about, or they're talking about the planner. Okay. And let's, I'll put this clip on real quick. Sorry. So they are discussing the planner, and now this, let's watch and then we'll talk.
Thank you. So, but that goes to what year is this now? So 2023, we arrested her. So 9 years after the arrest, she still had her 2014 day planner.
And so the piece of evidence that he's asking about for y'all that don't know is in her day planner at the time of the murder, so from 2014, so her daughter has been divorced from this man since 2012, for 2 years. She had the victim's current tag number in her planner. So the thing was, well, the killers had the tag number, right? So how did they get it? Well, she had it. So I don't know how important it was, but it sure was a nice
We've had a lot of
nice
arguments
nugget
inside our rooms about that, of how important is it. Yeah, having access to it, but I was always arguing.
I screen record. I screen record this, so sorry if you get some pop-up nonsense during these clips.
The rest of the tags are on the same page. It's family, it's everything.
but not ex-husband.
The part that
it's pretty weird.
And we're sitting in the middle of trial going through this stuff and listening to what they're arguing and looking down at the planner, and we didn't even get this out in trial, but she literally wrote "Pay Katie" on the first paycheck that was given to Katie. She wrote it in her planner, and all of us missed it.
Yeah.
Until the middle of
And
trial.
how much else did we miss?
There's no telling.
We're still looking. Don't worry.
First of all, Trial Watchers Guild, that is awesome. I heard her. So Georgia, at one point, she's like, somebody sent me a t-shirt that says code equals and then like a gun. That's awesome. That's awesome that that's from you. Okay. Did you hear what Georgia just said there? Okay, so they're talking about the planner. Oh my God, there's stuff that we didn't even really see in the planner. Obviously the tag in the back of this 2014 planner of Dan's tag number. Well, also, what can we, more than likely assume who gave the tag number to Donna, who lives in, Donna lives in Miami. Dan's in Tallahassee. Who else would have given him? And you know what I'm really curious about? So I had an iPhone in 2014. And if my husband said, hey, I need a license plate number, I'd probably just go out to my car and snap the picture of the license plate and send it to him. So I'm really curious if there's a picture of Dan's tag number anywhere inside of Wendy's deleted nonsense in her phone or inside Donna's old phone, because they took an old iPhone 4, which was the 2014 iPhone, from Donna too. Donna had an old ass phone that was brought into evidence. But they have this planner. She also writes in there, pay Katie, like a reminder to pay the freaking, pay the damn everybody, associated with the conspiracy. And then Georgia, who admittedly says that she has a caseload of 60 cases right now, says, don't worry, we're still looking. We're still going through the planner. Me, Georgia Kappelman, who has 60 fucking cases on my book, is still going through the planner that is tied to the Adelson Markel case. Okay? Why would she be doing this if we did not have another person up on the chopping block? They would be not wasting any resources into a closed case. And Georgia would not be announcing it. And who knows if she actually meant to say that or not? But I love it. I love it for us. I love it for us. I love it for us. Okay. So don't worry, we're still looking. I think that is amazing. All right, so then, and there's like all these, they're asked about how is it, dealing with witnesses, and how is it when, a convicted, somebody who's convicted with this crime becomes a witness. And she starts talking about, well, Jason Leland's like, she hates Luis, pointing to Georgia, and she's like, he has pizza with him, and she's like, and I don't eat pizza with murderers. And I'm sorry, but Georgia, if you're watching, call me. Let's be best friends, please. Like, I can't handle it. Let's be best friends. So, and they're talking about, she's like, I really don't usually deal with this much about having somebody convicted for the same crime, and then they have to come in and testify. But to discuss a little bit about Katie. So they ask her, I don't know specifically. They're talking about if Katie would get a deal. And she's like, well, it's kind of a hard decision for us because basically we have to like throw out what the jury has already decided. Like, we gave them this big job, and they've already decided that we're going to convict you, we're going to put you in prison for life. She says, so it is a hard choice on our end to have to to do that, and we don't take it lightly. She says, but I'm sure they would understand. I'm sure they would understand if if we have to make that decision. And not saying this in every single case, but I think in most cases, rumors do not come out of nowhere. And I feel like if there's something swirling around right now, and Georgia basically said, yeah, Katie might get a deal, actually. Katie might get a deal. She might get out of here. Katie's already, Katie sat right up on the thing and said in both trials, in Charlie and Donna's, that no, I'm not getting a deal for being here. I haven't been promised anything for being here. And she's testified in these cases. We didn't hear anything, I think the timing of it is a little something. Because what information would Katie have on somebody that would be worth switching Katie out of prison for? Could it be Wendi? Could it be Wendi? Could it be Wendi? I think it could be. And let's actually have a conversation about that. Okay, so I was looking up, my obsession with WhatsApp. And I just think, and as a parent, if you're going to your kid and you're saying, do you have WhatsApp on your phone? And they're like, no. And you're like, oh, did you talk to Katie on WhatsApp on your phone? And they're like, no. And saying, oh, well, Are you sure you didn't talk to Katie on your phone? You have that information. Okay. You have that information. And no, I don't think Katie is getting a deal right this very second. But the way that Georgia says it is, it could be a possibility. And again, who could this information be on? So the WhatsApp shit, she's asked about it in every single trial. Now, you know that several months ago, I found out by accident that WhatsApp was not encrypted in 2014. Okay, so I wanted to see exactly what information cops get from WhatsApp. Okay, so I found, hold on. Okay, so I found an old article about this. Okay. And the article was originally written in 2012, and then it was updated in 2014. And when I'm looking back at this stuff, I like to try to find time-specific articles so we're getting the correct information from the time period that we are talking about. So, this is what I have found. So basically, they can obtain all this digital information without even needing a warrant in 2014. They can get your emails and your texts by going to Google or AT&T, which I guess AT&T was maybe the only were you the only cell service in this time period? They can just do it with a court order. You don't have to show probable cause of a crime or anything. And what you get, so you might not necessarily get like full on details of everything, but what you are going to get is who was called, when they were called, or who you've been speaking to in the timeline for that. So let's think about what Tara Kawas said in her opening for, I think it was Katie's retrial. I may be mistaken. It might have been the first trial, but I think it was Katie's retrial. She comes out and she says, they have all of the iCloud information for Charlie. I love her accent. She says, they have all the deleted messages, all the WhatsApp messages, even everything he tried to delete. They have it all. Okay. Back to 2012, I think. Okay. So, and Charlie's case was started in 2016. Well, who is to say that they didn't? Because in 2016, they knew Katie was connected. And this is before everybody was getting new phones and everything. Do they have all of Katie's iCloud account information? Because if they have Wendi, even if Wendi has a burner phone, if she's messaging people through WhatsApp, and that is all being saved to the iCloud, because it would have been, we could have all that information. And how would we get that information in? Katie would testify to it. We would have the information. Katie would sit up there. She would say, yep. She told me as soon as he got shot. That's how I said I know. This and that and the other. Of course, we talked on the day of the murder because Georgia asked specifically in every single trial, did you talk on the day of the murder? Quite something. Quite something. Okie dokie. So then she's asked about, like, what do you think of Harvey? And she says, I can't really say what I think of Harvey. She says, but geez, weren't we all so surprised at his little, his statement to the court? She says, I wish the judge could come out and talk about that because basically he really showed his ass on that one. But I thought this was an interesting little tidbit. They're talking about, they're asked what evidence do we not know? And, obviously they're being careful because, like, what are they going to do? Like, tell us, be like, oh, like, here's some. I think that was like kind of a sneaky little question, but I love it. But yeah, they're talking about, what sort of evidence do we not know? And we get a little bit more information about Harvey.
So it's like, well, should we or shouldn't we? It's always a conversation. I'm not sure we got it all right, but
You did your perfection.
yeah, we did our best.
All right, I got one. So what pieces of evidence did the jury not get to see that you really wanted them to see?
There was a lot of the divorce
confessions.
document. Oh.
We didn't have those.
Yeah, you know too much. I don't know. You answer that.
I can't
How much
think
of that is out there?
Like what?
The last part of this investigation, right before trial.
Like the snitches?
Mm-hmm.
They know all that?
They know a lot of it. So
yeah, I mean, there was more to that.
the whole Drina Bernhard,
Yep.
Patricia Bird, there was a lot of people that would testify to the same thing. The defense gave us some witnesses that were going to contradict what Drina and Patricia said, but when we found them, we also found hotels rented by Harvey for them and other stuff that was...
Right, so other snitches were trying to come forward to contradict Drina's statement. And when they started looking into these other snitches, they found that Harvey's renting hotel rooms for them. Okay.
There was more of that kind of stuff that didn't come in for whatever reason.
A tactical decision, or was it you just didn't think you would get it?
We didn't want to really do like a parade of snitches, and those there was some discovery problems because we didn't find it until the last possible second. So we did make some kind of strategic decisions to try to put forth just the most clear jailhouse informant evidence that we could that was actually corroborated by other stuff. And also, this witness brought us a script that was written for her by the defendant in the defendant's hand. Yeah, okay, let's just use her.
Now you talk about lucky, so that was... We learned of Drina in November. We interviewed Drina in December, and we happened to have one of the sheriff's office employees at our office that day, and he had access to the jail video system, which purged in 30 days, and I think we were at 29. It was the next day we would have lost that whole video of Donna sitting at the table writing this script that we were able to get. Some of us, we got lucky, but...
Okay, so the script was provided to that witness with the intention, and the directions were copy it and give it back to me. If I'm Donna, I'm going to give you the script, you're going to recopy it, give it back to me, I'm going to destroy it, you're going to memorize it, that's going to be your testimony in my case, and then in exchange I'm going to give you a piano or whatever. And
teeth. Everybody gets new teeth.
And so, teeth are expensive. I would do a lot for a new tooth. So anyway, so we happened to...
What would you do for a new set of teeth? I absolutely adore Georgia with all of my heart and soul. All of it. So yeah, that's interesting, right? So Harvey's bribing witnesses, which we knew because we heard Drina talk to him in the courtroom by accident. Remember that the first, who was on the stand? Was it Corbett? No. I need my brain to start working again. But they're like going through the phone calls. They're about to start the phone calls, and they accidentally play. And I have it in the freaking short. Hold on. They accidentally play the phone call that they weren't supposed to, and it's Drina's freaking voice. Hi, Harv.
All right, is that call?
I will forever remember and appreciate how she helped me with.
You saw me click that. And it's like.
All right, is that call A?
It is.
Okay, publish call A, please.
Yeah, Stanford. Thank you, Paul. I don't know Tattletales. I thought I found Malia, but I didn't. I don't think she exists. I think Malia just rhymes with Garcia.
Hey, Hans.
Yep. Oh, there's wait, nothing free. Oh, it's fine. Okay.
I mean, they all know what these calls are. It's so funny. Look at his face.
Because from tonight after work or some other.
Oh my God, I'm sorry, that will never not be absolutely hilarious to me. Yeah. I think Malia rhymes with Garcia. And if you haven't watched Grish's video on the food truck thing, and there was this, I'll just do a quick summary. So Fancy Fiction posted this Facebook post that Wendi had put up the day before Dan's murder. And that doesn't mean the picture was taken then, like, we know this. But it was just kind of interesting. So Grish and I were trying to figure out where this was taken at. We're calling True Crime Wifey, being like, can you recognize this building in the background? Like, we're going all over Google Earth in Tallahassee to try to figure this out. He figures out where this picture was taken. It's right by this lake that every Thursday, which would have been the day before Dan was killed, there's this like food truck event that every Thursday they do it. I think it's Lake Ella is what it's called. So there's this food truck thing. It ran from 6 to 9, I think. Anyway, also that same day, Garcia and Rivera, their car is parked in what's like a 4-minute walk from this food truck place at a bar down the street. Like within walking distance. It's interesting. Go watch his thing. He explains everything much better than I ever could. All right. So then they're asking about like, how is it dealing with John Lauro? They're all like, he was great. Wendi, however, is the worst. So let's listen to that clip.
Y'all talk a little bit about having Wendi testify and dealing with Wendi's attorney and how that all kind of came to be.
That was all me. Yeah, no, so John Lauro is actually very good to deal with. Wendi did all the authentication for our wire calls that would say, that's my mom, that's my brother, that's my dad. And she could do Katie every once in a while, I feel like. But we had Rivera do Katie as well. So I would send Lauro all.
Which is so weird that Wendi, who, met Katie twice, could recognize her voice? I'm sorry, but if I talked to you exactly 2 times, one of which was on a windy beach, and then the FBI came up to me 7, 8 years later and asked me to authenticate your voice, I couldn't. Just saying.
Of the calls that we were planning on using in a list, she would sit down and listen to enough to say, yeah, that's who I think it is.
Hey, Leslie B.
But he was actually very pleasant to deal with for me.
He was very pleasant for me too, but she was not. She, obviously wouldn't consent to giving any statements about anything other than when she was under subpoena on the stand. So you found out what she was going to say when she said it, and you had to be prepared for all these different variations of what might come out of her mouth. And so, and she wanted to test me on every single point. So that's why we had big binders to refer to
Tab 36.
both get on the same page. So it was a challenge preparing for her. Yeah, I mean, she wasn't going to make it easy for me.
And some of her answers, I don't know why they changed. Like, I know a lot of us remember.
Yeah, why not just admit you went to the scene?
You drove down Trescott, you drove up to your old house, and you saw it. We've had this conversation a lot of what relevance does her turning down Trescott, and initially it means nothing. It's some of us that know that area, it could be a shortcut. You don't have to fight the bet in traffic.
No.
But it's her changing the story. I only turned down Trescott.
And it's her conduct
100 yards.
afterwards.
I didn't even call anybody. There's a tree down in my ex's yard, or my old yard. Yeah, her conduct made it relevant.
Not
I mean, had
checking
it
on the
just been,
kids.
I drove by, I don't think we would have made it as much as it was.
Do you think?
Why would she? Why would she change her story? Why would she? Why would she change her story? That's a really good question. Why would she, after everybody is... Remember we talked about processing time? And a normal person hearing something or seeing something out of the ordinary or for the first time is going to take a second to figure out what's going on. Well, the officer, so there wasn't one cop that was tasked to watch Wendi that day or look for Wendi. There was two, actually, and let's talk about it. So the main cop, and he has testified in the trials, was Officer Brannon. So Isom tells Brannon, hey, Wendi Adelson is the ex-wife, and she drives a maroon Honda Odyssey, whatever, minivan, okay? So keep an eye out for her. And this was likely told to him so that if the occasion arose that Wendi, which would have been considered the next of kin, seeing that his family is out of the country, if she was to drive up, they would know immediately who she was and be able to talk to her as somebody who they should be talking to, okay? So this is why I think he was told to watch out for this van. Well, as he has testified to, as he has written in his report, everybody who drove up to this roadblock all had to take a second. And I mean, like when there's an accident, there's a slowdown. I mean, there could be nothing in the way. It's just people looking. Like, people are curious. People want to see. But especially when you've got like an area that you drive up to that's blocked, you have to take a second to be like, all right, well, which way am I going to go now? Like, what's the best route to take now? So he said it took most people a beat or two to sit there and think like, okay, well, what am I going to do now? Whatever. All but one car. And the one car that didn't have to think about what they were going to do when they drove into this roadblock was Wendi's maroon Honda Odyssey, which drove up to the roadblock and immediately did a U-turn, or a K-turn, a 3-point turn. Immediately turns around and hauls ass out of there. The only person out of everybody that drove up to this cuisine. And yeah, she was on the phone. She was on the phone with and his name, she claims that he was living in England, which he is now, from my understanding. But at the time, and it's in her call log, he has a Massachusetts, Boston area number that she was talking to. So her whole thing was, oh, well, WhatsApp was kind of to talk to people internationally. And I know the friend that I was speaking to, he was, I was talking to him and he was in England. So I might have been using WhatsApp at the time, which of course we know from Ann Cunningham's testimony and, Georgia being like, do you know that WhatsApp didn't even make calls back then? That they didn't even make calls back then. But she's calling him on a Massachusetts number regardless. So that's that. Oh, and also something that I read, and I don't even think I ever told you guys about this. So I was going back to like WhatsApp 2014. What was it about? And I found a super old Reddit post, and a couple of them saying, probably from people that were doing nefarious shit, because why else would you care, saying, oh my God, my WhatsApp, the calls that I'm making through WhatsApp or like the contacts when they're talking to people were coming up in the phone log. So they were like chatting with somebody on WhatsApp. And back in 2014, because I was on YouTube back in 2014. Okay. I had a beauty channel, blah, 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 all that. And this was like really when like a bunch of social media new shit was coming out. So like we were all like, oh, we have to get it so we can get like our name, blah, blah, blah. Hi, Forensic RN. So I had WhatsApp, and at that point, it was like a voice recording type of thing, but it disappeared every time. So like it was like almost like a walkie-talkie type of thing. So you would say like, hey, this is Jackie. What are you up to? And it would go over to them, and then they would say something to you. But I used it maybe for like a day, and I'm just like, I'm so ADHD that I can't, like, once my message disappeared and the other person was like, LOL, I know, right? And I'm like, I know, right? What? Like, what are we even talking about? So I didn't use it much, but it was, yes, Jeff Skopek. It was Jeff Skopek. Thank you. I think so. Yeah, I'm pretty sure. Yeah. Because there was Scott Radius who helped with the whole oops, Donna's getting on a plane and running. And yes, I think it was Jeff Skopek. Maybe it's not Jeff. Maybe there's just too many. No, I think it was. I don't know. I think it was. Maybe it wasn't. It's in one of my other videos. Anyway. Yeah, she's on the phone. She's going up. She's going by the house. And I'm sorry. You couldn't pay me to take a shortcut down a street that has a dozen speed bumps and is 25 miles an hour. That's not a shortcut to me. And I get it. When he had a van, if you have a lower riding car, it's a little more of a pain in the ass to go over speed bumps, but you're not going down this we all know. We all know Wendi, allegedly. So she said something at the end that reminded me of something else. Hold on.
Made it as much as it was. Conduct made it relevant.
Not
I mean, had
checking
it
on the
just been,
kids.
I drove by.
Yeah. So that was, we know. And yeah, baby, she is a stalker though. And yes, Amy, 9 miles out of her way. This is no shortcut. Okay, so say that this is a map. Wendi lived here. Mosaic was 3.5 miles directly west of where Wendi lived. Wendi drove, and not only that, right next to Mosaic was, in the plaza that Mosaic was in, were 3 different liquor stores. Not near it, not on the way. She could have swung a dead cat and hit a liquor store while sitting in Mosaic. That's how close they were. So Wendi drives not 3.5 miles to here. Oh no. She goes completely down, around, up, and now this is a whole curvy ass road to Trescott. Then we got to go all the way back, and then we go down here, and then we go to easily like one of the shittiest liquor stores, ABC Liquors. No offense if you work there or own a franchise, but I'm sorry. There's a Publix liquor store next to Mosaic, which is always nice and like never has weirdos in it. So she goes to this ABC, then she goes to get gas, then she gets glue wherever, who knows. Where did she get glue? That was never mentioned again. Where's the super glue, Wendi? But make sure that she goes and does all this stuff because she's running late. Remember, she's running late. She can't shower because she's running so late. So she does all of this other crap. Also, then she sits and freaking talks to Jeff Skopek for like another 15 minutes after she's supposed to be at lunch. All the girls, Ritu and whoever, Janine, they're both messaging her and calling her and being like, hey, where the hell are you? Because I'm in such a hurry that I'm going to go down and add another exactly 9 miles. Because then once she gets to Mosaic, and then she goes to the Circle K, and then she goes not Mosaic, ABC Circle K, and then goes all the way up. You're in such a hurry that you're going to go completely out of your way. Now, if I was in a hurry and I was running late for lunch, you would go right to lunch. You'd grab the liquor afterwards from the liquor store that's next to where you're going to lunch. Yeah. Yeah, Matt. She overused the term shortcut and then had to change it to a road that I'm familiar with, which is stupid because who doesn't have a GPS? She did. She had an iPhone. And none of it makes sense. And I've always told my kids, if it doesn't make sense, you're being lied to. So yeah, no, it does look really nice, Rebecca. And I know. And I had a newer ABC that I lived next to in Florida, and that was nice. But when they're not new, and like, I'm just like that. Like, I don't even want to go to a grocery store that's like an older grocery store. I'm like, I don't like the layout. I can't find anything. Yeah, no, that was, no, she just said that she knew that, that was the liquor store next to her house. But then she admits like, oh yeah, I went by there all the time just to come to terms with the divorce. It's like, when you initiate the divorce, you don't have to come to terms with it. You came to terms with it. That's why you drew up the divorce papers. You don't come to terms with a divorce that you initiated. The other person comes to terms with the divorce, not you. You're the one who wanted the divorce. You told him forever. You admitted that he was sad. She admitted in court that he was sad after it. The divorce you wanted, exactly. Forensic RN, the divorce that you wanted. Why? Like, oh, same. Please let it be. Please, Georgia, guys, you gotta film it, okay? I don't care. The feds can be there. But also please have somebody with a body-worn camera or call me. I'll come. I'll film it in HD. Well, let's do anything we can. I'll film it in 8K. Come on. Yes. I also lived in Southwest Florida. AB Sleaze. Yes. It's not a nice, I mean, every time you go in there, there's always just something going on in there. And I mean, even if you're not from Florida, you probably know the, Florida man, scheme and everything. So it's crazy. Okay. So this is the last clip that I want to show. And this is them talking about the Markells.
So I know this isn't necessarily a foreign concept here in our circuit or to you guys, but dealing with a victim's family for the amount of time that you have, like what's different about the relationship that you have with his parents than, you know, in a case where you've got maybe years before one trial, when you're going through trial after trial through this amount of time?
It's longer. We had monthly calls, at least monthly calls.
Groundhog Day. Every month we had Groundhog Day.
I mean, bless their hearts. They were tenacious. They did not, you know, we were in a unusual relationship with the next of kin because, in their opinion, we hadn't done our job right yet, and they didn't want to tick us off. They're Canadian, so of course they were kind about it, but they were telling us, like, you haven't done your job in the nicest, most Canadian way possible. So we had monthly updates. It was about an hour long every time. The call was very similar every time, so I would kind of have to.
I don't know how Wendi can drive by the house and not know.
Yeah, I mean,
Every single call.
They're awesome people, and they're very patient people, and they've been very supportive of us, but they also kind of want to wring our necks, so, and I don't blame them. You know, they want justice. They don't want 90% justice. They want it all, and they should get it.
Are they satisfied?
No. Literal 90% justice.
They want full justice. They don't want 90% justice. They want full justice. And Georgia says, and they should get it. So Georgia, in this hour-long conversation, this is pretty much flanked with her saying, I have 60 cases right now. We're still looking at the planner. And the Markells deserve full justice. There's no way that they would be doing any research. They would be putting no resources into this case if it was closed. You don't do that. There is a finite amount of time, money, resources, people, all the moving parts that have to make this investigation go. This investigation is still ongoing. Do you hear me? Do you hear me? Do you hear me? Do you hear me? It is still ongoing. And Georgia, in her bright green blazer, which I'm sorry, green means go. There's no way that Georgia's not talking to us. And yeah, maybe I'm just looking into this too much, which I probably am because I am a girl and we overanalyze anything. But I'm sorry. Green means go. And you're next, Wendi. And we're going to come get you. And we're going to replay that over and over and over. And I can't wait. Can't wait. I can't wait. I can't wait. I agree. Simone Juneau. I think Fibbers wanted that divorce simply because she wasn't interested in being a mother, even when she had the children. 50% of the time, she clearly didn't. And then she was also into kink that Dan wasn't involved in. Yeah. Yep. And yeah, I'm fine. I'm fine with the feds being involved and they can be there, but my God, put somebody with a camera in there, please. Please, I'm begging you. I can't. I'm begging you. Please, I just want to see it. I just want to see it. Yes, and that's the thing. Yeah, baby. Baby says Georgia knows that we analyze our every word. 100% we do, and she knows that. And it was so funny because they even asked her. They're like, what about the YouTubers and the podcasters and stuff? Like, were you looking at all that? You know, were you watching it? She's like, well, you know, during the trial, I really wasn't, but you know, but I did know like what everybody thought of my outfit every day, which is so funny. It's like, yes, we were like, yes, queen, love it. So great. Okay, do I think they will go after Harvey? Yes. Okay, so here's my personal feeling about everything. Okay, so in summary, I think there should be no question whatsoever about whether or not this is still an ongoing case. Okay. Hi, Warflare. Just chilling. Okay, so clearly there's this is still an open case, an open investigation. Okay. Not only do we have this and Georgia saying this, but then we have the Tallahassee Democrats letter or, you know, article coming out about how they've been inundated with emails and messages and, you know, skywriting, like, you know, when like the Wizard of or in the Wizard of Oz where the witch is like, kill Dorothy or whatever in the sky. We're writing that up above the Tallahassee, you know, right outside of George's office. Got Wendy. Everybody's writing. There is a public outcry. And okay, so New York Patriot lady, I don't have a copy of the planner. I do have screenshots of some of it, but Mentor Lawyer was able to get all of the planner. And not saying that the public decides what is going on, but we know as much as we know, and clearly we all want to see. I mean, Wendi is really the last, you know, person I feel like everybody is very voracious about. I agree 100%, Top Cat. I feel like they are going to go for Wendi next. And then I feel like they're going to go for Harvey. Now, I feel like in my non-lawyer understanding of things, I feel like they will be able to get Wendi on murder one, conspiracy, and solicitation. No problem. I feel like just on what we know, yes, a lot of it is circumstantial. A lot of this has been circumstantial, though, for every single case. And people can read between the lines. You know, we're not stupid. We don't have to see, you know, the plan written out in black and white to understand what's going on. So I think that Wendi is going to be going down. I think she is going to be gotten for the full gamut because I think that they know that that needs to be the next person that they get. Again, Georgia has 60 cases. We don't know what the court schedule looks like. You know, there is a, you know, Wendi has a right to a speedy trial. So that means for a felony case, it's 175 days, not from the date of arrest, from the date that she gets charged. So when she gets charged, the clock starts ticking for 170 days. Now, usually these go much longer, you know, delays happen and everything else, but they have to, in earnest, be able to set her a court date at that 175-day period. This is a case that is going to likely take at least 2 weeks. You know, so you have to have 2 interrupted weeks without, you know, without holidays in the middle, without it conflicting with other cases. So all these things need to be considered just on a technical aspect, not like, oh, do we have enough evidence for Wendi? But also, where can we make this work in the schedule as well? So I think we are very soon going to see a Wendi arrest. Now, I have heard, and Leslie, I don't know if Leslie's still in here, but I was talking to Leslie the other day, and she said that Tara Kawas has been visiting Katie quite a bit in prison. And I have this clip in my Wendy's next video of Tara Kawas is doing an interview, and she says, you know, the state wants my client to turn on the Adelsons, and they told her she could go home today, but we're not going to lie to get home, and you know, she is innocent, blah blah blah. Katie was offered a deal to go home after she had been locked up. And I mean, she even says it. She's like, she hasn't seen her kids in like however many years it had been at that point. She's like, she hasn't seen her kids. She's like, and they offered her to go home, but she's not going to, you know, she's not going to lie to get out of. And I mean, Tara Kawas genuinely thought that Katie was innocent, like cried when she was convicted, cried real tears when she was convicted, genuinely believed in her. So why is Tara Kawas visiting Katie, if this is accurate? Why is Tara Kawas suddenly going and talking to Katie? Is she giving her information? Is she giving her advice? Is she saying, hey, listen, you might want to do something about this? Because let me tell you, we have full letters between Sigfredo Garcia and Sigfredo's lawyer, back and forth. I have pages and pages of letters. And this was pre-Charlie's trial. And Sigfredo's lawyer is saying, we all know who's really behind this. And if you think that any of those people are going to help you after this is all done, you've got another thing coming. You need to tell the state what you know to have a chance to save yourself. They think the Adelsons are involved. We know the Adelsons are involved is basically what he's saying in these. I mean, he says that there's over a half a dozen messages from the lawyer being like, you need to talk, Sigfredo. What the hell is wrong with you? And I am sure that if Tara is talking to Katie, she's given her the same advice. At this point, Katie's been locked up for over a decade. Those of you with kids, imagine not seeing your kids for 10 years. Absolutely not. Little kids, too. Like, she's missed their entire childhood at this point. What? What's going to happen? What's going to happen? No, Sigfredo is a dummy. But I also think that Tara probably has an insane amount of guilt for telling her client to tell, you know, well, let's tell Georgia to piss off because you're not going to lie. You know, you're not going to say anything about the Adelsons. You don't know anything. Well, it turns out you're wrong, and Katie is involved, and she's been involved. And so, you know, if this is going to be the last chance, you know, really the last chance of Katie's involvement, this would be the last chance that Katie would have to go up on the stand and help put somebody else away and help the state out. Why would this not be the time that we're hearing rumors about Katie? You know, and I think having a wife in prison is completely just for the sake of having some sort of protection, camaraderie, just to get you through. I don't think she has a wife in the respect that she would not leave her prison wife to go to her kids, in my opinion. So, I mean, I don't think this came out of nowhere. I think if, you know, and it honestly, it could be as simple as, you know, people are seeing Katie now all of a sudden, people in prison are seeing Katie now all of a sudden having meetings with their lawyer, and they're just making, assumptions of saying, well, if she's suddenly meeting with her lawyer, this usually means this. It's pretty interesting. I think the timing of it is interesting. I think, the fact that we are being told that no, this is no way over is amazing. And I think now that Charlie has gone through his appeal, and if you heard Charlie in the, days after he was convicted, talking about Wendi, talking about how pissed that he was that she went by the crime scene and getting more and more pissed, Charlie's been sitting there. I mean, Charlie got his toe scraped. Charlie had a stubbed toe, and he was very upset about it. It hurt him, and I don't think he wants to live that life. And do I think that the state will offer Charlie I think Katie is going to get a deal. I think Katie is obviously she's obviously involved, but way more removed than these other players. I agree. I don't think she will just get out either. But I think with Charlie, if Charlie goes from facing life in prison to saying, oh, you could have a possibility of parole in however many years, I would take it. I mean, what benefit does he have to stay quiet? He's in prison. His mother's in prison. He's in prison. His mother's in prison. Why would he stay quiet? Who's to protect whom? There's nobody. Everybody's locked up except for Wendi, who this was all for. Except for Wendi, who benefited the most. Except for Wendi, who got $3 million and freaking, $4,800 a month off of the murder of freaking Dan. And I've got to talk a little bit about Rob, because God bless that man. But they were talking about Wendi and how difficult Wendi was. And we got her to testify, but she was forced to testify. She didn't just testify. Everybody else that was a witness, the state said, hi, would you be a witness? And they said, sure. Everybody else. All the friends. Luis. Everybody. Rob. Nobody else had to be forced into testifying via subpoena. And the reason why she was given her, little immunity, you're forced to testify, but we won't use these words against you. Which, who would need that? Who would need to be forced to testify to get justice for their kid's father? I don't care how much you hated him when he was alive. Still your kid's dad. That's just odd. So anyway, they're talking about Rob and how, that it was a difficult decision for them to make to bring Rob in to testify. They really didn't want to use him unless they absolutely had to. But they're talking about the day that he came in. And they said, we wanted to bring him in through the judge's chambers so he didn't have to be filmed, photographed by everybody and walk past Donna and stuff. And they said, he was there all day. He was there for hours. And he said that he just sat in the office and he just had his head down on the table and he wouldn't eat anything and he wouldn't drink anything. And she's like, and I'm so glad we had him testify because he just did such an amazing job. And they said as soon as he walked out of the court, they said he just collapsed. I mean, you could tell by looking at him on the stand, just how much, he knew this was the right thing, but still, he had to sit there in front of his parents and testify, against his mom. But then we also find out, which this was shocking to me, Rob was a secret informant for the FBI since 2015 on this case. Newland says, we were getting information and we were like, where'd this come from? Rob. So Rob was working with the FBI since 2015. Okay. When is the last time that Rob spoke to Donna? 2016. After Sigfredo was arrested. Because remember, he was up on the stand. He said, yeah, I was told by a coworker or something, or we heard that there was an arrest made. And I thought, oh, let's get, I'm sure my parents will call us. They never did. We said, oh, well, our anniversary is coming up in a few days. They'll probably call us for our anniversary. And he asks Donna over and over, hey, have you heard about the arrest? Hey, what do you think about it? Hey, they're from Miami. How weird is that? Like, how weird is that they're from Miami and Dan lives in Tallahassee? How weird is it that just these two random guys that freaking don't have a pot to piss in or a window to throw it out of would freaking drive a rental car all the way up to Tallahassee to kill a man that they never met and didn't know? How weird is that? And she literally would not answer him and then was finally like, I've got to go, and hung up on him. And that's the last time he talked. He was already talking to the FBI for a year at that point. I wonder if that phone call is recorded, because I bet it is. Because I guarantee if the FBI said, hey, Rob, you mind if we tap your phone so we can get any conversations that you might have with Donna or Charlie or Wendi? I'm sure Rob, being a good law-abiding citizen, said yes. And, Donna, right after Dan's killed, the next day, a couple days after, she says, don't talk to the FBI. Don't talk to the police. And he says, why wouldn't I talk to the police? They've already been here. I already talked to them. You don't know anything anyway. That's what Donna says. You don't know anything anyway. In comparison to who? You guys? Like, no, he doesn't know anything because he's not a piece of fucking shit. But he knew. His first instinct was, I hope this is not what I think it is. Because he knows the way that Donna treated his current wife. His beautiful, beautiful wife. That Donna had a whole fit about him being married to because she wasn't Jewish. Haritha, who was absolutely beautiful. Who has to have light in her soul for Rob to even enjoy her in the first place. Like, Rob was a secret informant for the FBI. And this whole thing was setting Jeff up to be the patsy for the murder. It had always been a thing. I always thought it was nonsense until I heard Rob testify about this crap. Because if you forget, Rob says, oh yeah, Wendi texted me or calls me and messages me this picture of her and this guy, and she had never ever talked to me about a boyfriend before. And Wendy's like, oh yeah, don't tell the parents because I haven't met him, except the parents had met him a whole bunch. So, like, the Wendy's dropping all these breadcrumbs, setting shit up. The damn, they rent a silver car not once but twice. Jeff is out of town both of the weeks that the murderers were coming into town. He was going out of town like the same weekend. It's beyond words. It's beyond logic. Okay, so she's not with a billionaire's son. So everybody thinks her boyfriend is George Fernando. It's not. Or Fernandez. It's George Estrada. He's not a billionaire's son. He's just a regular guy. And I'm sorry, and no offense, George, I'm sorry. I don't know you. But Harvey's literally offering to fix everybody's teeth. Why not George? Where are George's teeth? What does George have to do to get a new set of teeth from Harvey? Because I personally am a little sad for him. A little sad for him. But that's all I have for you. Let's see. Does anybody have any questions, comments? And Leslie was so sweet to send me a signed copy of Ruth's book. I'm so excited for that. Ruth, who is literally a saint. I don't know how she's, all of us are like, with everybody's like, it's been too long. It's like, dude, you know what? I know that we're all anxious. We all want to see the bitch get arrested, but like, imagine how the Markells feel. Like, take this out of yourself already. You know who else has been waiting 12 years? His parents and his sister. So maybe set yourself aside for a second. I know that you're also impatient, but his parents are literally like this is ticking time for them too. And I'm sure every second hurts them much worse. Eric Norgard says, I think Wendy said, hey mom, don't be a dumbass and say something stupid. I'm at the police station and they can hear you. Yeah, well, that's the first thing that she said. She's like, I'm at the police station. I'm fine. And yeah, 100%, Gary. She was about to lose her law license. Not only would it have, I mean, she wasn't like super practicing law. I think just the act of that happening, just them having to tell people about that, just the rumors, just the talk about why that happened would have been just devastating for, I mean, the whole family is like all about, all about everything is how they look and how, how people perceive them, and they have to be better than everybody. That would have been a huge blow, not only to Wendy, but the entire family. 100%. 100%. Yeah, I don't think they need to make deals to convict her either. I think they just want to have enough, because Georgia said this. She's like, we just have to be, we have to be really careful because obviously you only have one chance. So I think that they want to make sure that if they are bringing her in, that they are going to come with, they don't want any sliver of a chance. So I think they are waiting to, I mean, if Charlie could talk, that would be great. If, obviously Charlie's still a convicted murderer. This is the problem, is that all their witnesses, most of their witnesses are convicted murderers. So, a lot of the times these people aren't looked at the same way as, obviously a non-convicted murderer would be looked at by the jury. So I think that they are going to want to really make sure that they are gathering up, as much as they have, as, and I mean, granted, okay, so let's just, in Donna's trial was ready to start jury selection, and what happened? Rashi has to pull out. Delayed by a full year. Well, what happened right after that? They got all this information from Drina Bernhardt. And not like I don't think they had enough to convict Donna without it, but like, that's pretty damning, having a script written by the murderer to tell you to lie. Like, so I'm just saying, I'm a big proponent of everything happens for a reason. I feel like if it's not happening right now, that's fine. And when it does happen, we are going to have the most ample amount of evidence to get her. I don't think she's getting away. And I think if she was just thrown in there with just the evidence that we know, I think they could make a good case for her. I think that there's much more that we haven't seen. I am very curious about, first of all, there's this old iPhone that is Donna's, okay? Why are you going to keep a 10-year-old iPhone unless there's something on there? They won't be able to, yeah, they admitted that she perjured herself on the stand, but because she was offered that use and derivative use immunity, they couldn't perjure her unless she got on the stand in her trial. And perjury, we don't want to see her go down for perjury. We want to see her go down for murder. And I think she will, 100%. So he didn't send me a cease and desist. He knows better. He knows better. We know better. You can cease and desist this, and you know what this is. No. Well, I mean, people aren't idiots. Like, these young juries are very impressive, and Wendi will find out that those melancholy expressions won't work. Yeah. No, they can see right through that. I think that was one of the benefits of, having a younger jury pool. Because, I feel like most people are skeptical of a lot of shit. And you know what? If it doesn't smell right, it's not right. And everybody has mentioned this drive down Trescott, why she drove down Trescott that day. It doesn't make sense to anybody. And it certainly doesn't make sense that, she's changed her testimony about it every single time. But that doesn't even matter because we can't use any of her. So all the evidence with her immunity, all the evidence can be used. Her words can't be used. And then we can also not say, oh, well, you told us this, and then we looked into it. That's the derivative use immunity part of it. We can't say, oh, you told us this, and we looked into it, and that now this has become evidence because we learned this from you. A good example of that would be when Luis told the cops, hey, Sigfredo shot a hole in the car. That wasn't information that they had before. They went, they found the rental. Sure as shit, there was a hole in the bottom of it. That's information that they only had because of Luis. Wendi hasn't given us any of that. Wendi has given us bullshit. She's given us lies. Yes, is that all damning? Yes. But I think without any of her testimony being brought in, which it's not going to be allowed to, without all that, we have her, in my opinion. And I think that there's iCloud information that we're going to get. I feel like there's much more digital information. What about her computer? Was her computer active? We've gone over this in, I think in my first beach video of Wendi and Yindra and Katie at the beach. I went over the timeline because we're missing a huge chunk in her call log. What was happening at her computer at the time? Was she on her computer? Because I feel like, it's not, I feel like there was enough time. This was silence on her phone for enough time for her to drive to Dan's house, spend 5 or 10 minutes there, and drive back. And this is at the time that he was shot, at the exact time that he was shot. So I think that we're going to learn more about that. They obviously have all that computer info. They have, Donna's old phone. They very likely have Katie's iCloud information. They very likely, or they have Charlie's iCloud information. And Charlie, and we've learned this from the wiretap, Charlie's talking to one guy about steroids. And he's like, yeah, I need Tren. I need blah, blah, blah. I need all this crap. And Charlie's like, yeah, that's fine. He's like, just let's talk about this through WhatsApp. I don't like talking about this over the phone. So Charlie thinks that WhatsApp is like the super secret, safe that nobody can, impenetrable, space that nobody can hear from. So Wendi might have had a burner, but Charlie probably didn't at the time that this was going on in 2014 is what I'm talking about. And then we still have this track phone in the evidence list that's not assigned to anyone. Okay, almost every single phone has a name next to it, except for this track phone that has a Tallahassee area code that they have in evidence. Whose burner phone is that? Could it be Wendy's? Could be Wendy's. Could be Wendy's. The bus videos. Are we going to see Wendy zipping around Tallahassee? And True Crime Wifey also said that they had just installed a whole bunch of traffic cam lights too. And I'm sure all that was pulled because they pulled all those bus videos immediately. They have Luis and Sigfredo driving into Dan's house, driving out. You know, what does Wendy's route look like that day? Do we have her going to Dan's house the day before when Luis says, I saw her? He says he saw her the day of the murder too. But he says he saw her the day before. And she made a phone call. I've asked the cops for the call detail records for Wendy for the day before. They refused to give them to me. Why? Why? Does it show that Wendy made a phone call at freaking 8 o'clock in the morning when Luis said he saw her there from Dan's house? I mean, come on. Thank you, Debbie. Good to see you. It's a lot, guys. It's a lot. We are not over. This isn't done. This isn't even close to being done. We have a long way to go. That's what I said. That's what I've been saying too this whole time. Yeah, baby says burner phone don't mean nothing. All they need to do is somebody was contacted with that number to say, yeah, that's her phone. It's pinned to you. Well, that's what I'm saying. Donna likely didn't have a burner phone. Wendy was probably contacting Donna through Wendy's burner through WhatsApp on Donna's normal WhatsApp. And they all thought it was secret. And I mean, granted, like, I personally I wasn't doing crimes, so I didn't really care who had my information. But, like, who knew what the hell the iCloud was back in 2014? Like, iPhones were barely a thing back then. Like, come on. Hi, Speak Less. Yeah. So, we'll see. Yeah. Well, so Isom said that they did like an emergency ping on her phone, and that's how they were able to find her. Oh, I didn't. Okay, so I'll end with this because I meant to talk about this earlier because I teased it and then I got distracted. So at the crime scene, Officer Brannon was put at the right at the and hold on, give me 1 second, guys. So
hate.
All right, hold on. Isom had Brannon right at the street. Okay, another thing that he did that is written in the police report is he had another officer go to her house, not to tell her anything happened, go to her house for surveillance to surveil Wendy. And this happened basically, he must have just missed her because he sat there until he was called off, which was likely when Wendy was found at the restaurant. But this other officer sat outside her house to see if she was coming or going. Why are we doing surveillance on a victim? Maybe. Okay, so let's just do one more thing real quick, and then I'm going to skedaddle. Okay, so I covered a little bit of this when Leslie and I did our live, but the crime scene is a big deal because the crime scene tape was right at Dan's house. And literally The 2 houses across the street were also included just because they were obviously within the framing of Dan's house. There were 3 houses that were cordoned off, and the frickin' crime scene tape that Officer Branham was sitting next to was right across, right in front of Dan's mailbox. And this wasn't like a house that just Dan lived in. Wendi and Dan, this was their house together for a while. Okay.
Okay,
so
did you have
here's
any
the crime
contact with the officer?
No.
Okay.
Okay. Guys, this is what Wendi pulled up to. Isom's right here, by the way. This is what Wendi pulled up to. This is the next door neighbor's mailbox. This right here, Dan's mailbox is in this little like brick sort of like pedestal thing here with a little like pineapple pine cone thing on the top. Look at where the tape is, guys. The tape, she pulled right up to Dan's house. Right up to his house. There was nothing else blocked off. Here it is from another angle. The crime scene tape, and you can see it a little bit, the yellow. You can see it right here. Oh, I'm sorry, I'm not pointing to the right thing. You can see it right here. Here's the yellow. It runs right across here. It's tied to this pole right here. Dan's mailbox is here. There's nothing on the other side. Okay? Here it is again. You can see, here's, the picture that we said, oh my God, I can see the car. Here's where that tape is. There's tape across Dan's driveway. She pulled up to tape that was in front of his house, had more crime scene tape across his driveway, and is trying to pretend that she didn't know that anything is wrong. Here's the other side of the house. This is the speed bump that is just past Dan's house. This is on the other side of his property line. This was only blocked off. And look at all the cop cars that were here, guys. This is what Wendi rolled up to. This is what she rolled up to. This is insanity. Dan's house is right. It's here on this side of this. Like Dan's house, like we could be standing in Dan's driveway and this picture was taken from it. Okay. Okay. This is the hole where I'm driving down Truscott, proving that you can't see this roadblock anywhere from frickin' Centerville. I'll put this on mute so we don't have to listen to this music. Here's Dan's house. This is Google Street View. Here's his house. This is the damn mailbox. This is the neighbors. This is Mr. Geiger's mailbox. This is the next door neighbor. He could see Dan's house from his window. The crime scene tape is right here. There was only one house. I mean, look at this. You pull up to this. I'm not even as close to this as Wendi probably was. You can see Dan's house right here. This is the only freaking, and then this was blocked off too. So it's not like it was just in front of here. That's bad enough because it's obviously right at his house. It was across the damn driveway too. It's across the driveway. It's in front of the house. And then here, look, you can see right here. This is the speed bump sign. This is where that other thing was attached to. We're talking literally. I think they did it on purpose because who do you really need this for but Wendi? I mean, they can get the fact that Wendy's not telling the truth about this because Officer Brannon went up and said, yeah, she drove right up to the crime scene tape. I don't think it was really important to know exactly where it was, but the fact that she drove up to this tape and then tried to have, 100 different versions of it says enough. I mean, there were a few houses blocked up, but these are bigger lots than Florida normally has too. Like these are kind of oversized lots. I lived in Florida for 22 years. I mean, here we are from the top. Here's 2022, not in the tape. This is Mr. Geiger's house. Here is freaking Trescott. Here's Danny's house and also was Wendy's house. There's no, if it was an electrical thing, there wouldn't be 20 cop cars there. There was literally 2 CSI vans and 4 marked police vehicles. Not including, here's where, this is what was blocked off. So it was 4 houses, okay? Because this is Danny's house. Here's where that road, where that speed bump is, right here. Okay, and so this is where, and then I'm just putting where these 2 pictures, the angle that these 2 pictures were taken from. So this one was taken from this angle. This one was taken, actually, that's a lie. It was taken from, no, that is not a lie. It was taken from this angle, looking towards this house. So Dan's house is right here. Right here. That's that giant tree right there. You know, there's just no way. Like, once this is shown, she's done. And not only that, but literally, the news just missed her. Unless the news was there. And they also have pictures of her freaking van driving up. The news was there around the same time that Wendi pulled up. He did. He recorded it, and he told Isom right away because he was told to tell Isom. So if it wasn't specific in his, but I mean, they knew it was around, 12:30 or so. But here's all the, here we are. Here, there's crime scene tape across his driveway. Here's more of the cop cars. There's a cop car right there. Here's Isom. Here's another cop car. Here's likely a detective vehicle. Here's another angle of that cop car. Here's another detective vehicle. Look at all these people milling around. And at one point, there were 2 CSI vans. Because there is a freaking, there's a picture that I have from Geiger's house. Here we go. This is looking out of Mr. Geiger's window. Here we can see the crime scene tape right across his drive. Like, don't tell me that you don't know what's going on. This is a CSI van. This potentially right here is another van. Like, guys. Yeah, and I get that Laura probably does not want a public arrest. I do not see a world in where Donna tried to flee in which they're just going to let Wendi turn herself in. I'm sorry, but I doubt it. I doubt that will happen. Very highly doubt. Yeah. Yeah. See, that was my theory too. And I mean, still, that could be true. I mean, we really don't know. With that whole Isom interview, I don't know how much of that was accurate. I don't know how much of that was him just trying to answer questions just to get, my initial feeling of seeing that interview was, oh, this is to settle Wendi down, to make her think that maybe she's not being arrested. Because I think that likely right after Donna was convicted, I mean, obviously, Donna knew she was next. Wendi can't know, there's no way that she doesn't know that she's on the chopping block, and she's got those kids. So I think that this was for a preservation type of thing. That's the feeling that I got from the Isom interview, that let's do this interview. Let's, try to downplay Wendi's involvement and blah, 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 whatever. But yeah. That's what I think of the thing. That's what I think. And no, I don't think Laura is going to be her actual attorney. So her phone wasn't off. She was on the phone with Jeff Skopek. And she said that he was in England, and he lives in England now, but the phone number is a Boston number. So she's talking to him on the call log. His number's in there. It's a Boston area code. So, she's on this. And that's how they know. That's how they knew where she was, because they looked at where her phone pinged and what cell towers it was picking up, because she was on the phone with this guy from the time that she left her house. And so they were able to see her path all the way to Trescott and verify that with the officer. And then they saw her pull around, and then they were able to see that she went to ABC Liquor. So this is all, this is all done. Yep. I think that's damning as hell too, Victoria. When Donna says, we all covered for you, and now you're not guilty. Yeah, and you have a lot to think about. Yeah. Yep. Boston number. And we haven't heard from him yet. Did Wendi say anything about? Because I think if she didn't even utter like, oh shit, my freaking, I just drove up to my ex's house. And like, what person would you be on the phone with when you're like, oh my God, there's crime scene tape all over my freaking ex's house? And wouldn't you be like, do you have to go? Do you need to like check on anything? Like, I don't know. So we will see. So forensic, I don't think Charlie knew, but I think Donna wanted her to check on it. Because remember, I mean, and we don't know this for sure, but we have testimony from other jailhouse informants that Donna already paid 2 other hitmen prepaid, and they didn't kill Dan. And then not only this, but this is the second time the hitmen were coming up to the thing. She was super, super agitated. She wanted to make sure that this was going to be done and everything. So, yep. Yeah, she called him back at like 1:00 when she was supposed to be at lunch. This lunch that she was so late for, she couldn't even wash her disgusting body. No, nobody had security cameras. So they went around to everybody. There were no security cameras. There were, however, security cameras, at all of her places where she was trying to create an alibi, ABC Liquor and everything else. Yes. I don't know if necessarily put a hit on Rob, but yes, there was talk. So they tapped Harvey's phone. They got a wiretap, a state approved wiretap, which is super rare to get, to tap Harvey's phone. What was happening, and this is all in the documents, Fulford was bringing in her Apple Watch for Donna to make secret phone calls to Harvey. Okay. They have her number. They know the number where it originated from. Okay. They've got all that information. They wouldn't just say this out of the freaking blue. Like, Georgia's not just going to wave her ass up in the air if she doesn't have, something to back it up. So this was all talked about. And yeah, there was threats to Drina, to Katie, to Rob, all discussed in this. What kind of sicko? And you know what? That just tells a lot about this family. And to me, I'm sorry, the lack of loyalty that this family has towards each other says to me that I don't think Charlie's going to need much convincing to roll on her. I mean, what's it going to do? It could only help him at this point. Like, yeah, you need to admit that you also, you're relying. Who cares? You're already in prison forever. What do you have to lose at this point? Your boyfriend? Like, come on, Charlie. Let's go. What about the money that Sigfredo had to get at the hotel? Yeah. Or the fact that the lady that at the apartment complex right behind Dan's house saw 2 guys in a car that looked just like that silver Prius walk through basically Dan's backyard, pick something and carry something back with them. They had something black in their hands. Money? Cash from Wendi? Who the hell knows? I mean, Monroe, Wendy's whole thing. Oh, I use it as a shortcut to get to Monroe. Yeah, Monroe to Thomasville. She says it like 2 or 3 times. Well, the Monroe is the road that the guys were staying at. They were staying at the Roadway Inn on Monroe. So let's go. Let's go. I can't wait to see it. All right, guys. I love you. Aw, thanks so much, Debbie. You're so sweet. Yeah, no, it's going back and rewatching stuff, like, even when you think that you know it all, even when you think that you've heard it. I mean, I was shocked by I didn't know that he was dead. Or I don't even know that he's dead. Mr. Headbang asks, if she is charged, does she get an option of bench trial rather than a jury trial? I don't know. Let me look that up real quick. Yeah, she could ask for one, but the prosecutor has to agree. And Georgia knows that we need to see a show. Oh my God. Yeah. Yep. All right. So, and also, I would highly suggest, if you haven't seen, Professor Joe started a channel. Excellent. Obviously she knows all about law. She has the ins and outs. I've watched her like 3 most recent videos last week, and it was fantastic. So I love you guys. This is not over. Leslie and I are going to have a live together next week, in which we will finish up this video that you don't have on the screen. But we're going to do the second part to our live that we had last week. So if you go in my if you go to my channel, you go to my posts, I put a link in there, or you can just go to live, and it's like the last live I did before this one. But thank you so much, guys. It was great to see all of you. And yeah, and Professor Joe, I think, has been the only person that hasn't been too afraid to, like, oh, well, I don't want this to stick to me if I'm wrong. Like, she has common sense 100%, and she has never wavered from the fact that there is enough to try Wendi. And I agree. All right. I love you guys so much, and I will see you soon. I'll see you next week for sure, and I do have a bunch of little tidbits to share with you. So I will see you soon. Love you all. Okay, bye guys.